It's because I'm staring, trying to pin myself so you can see me while also bringing up the gallery so I can see y'all. But so yes, like Miss Katie said, my name is Jillian. And I'm very excited to be back into class again. We kind of had a break. I was busy doing different camps and working all summer, so I was just not able to do another class during the summertime. So it's gonna be a moment of like getting back into the routine. Just an FYI. I do have a few other things I add here as well. One of the biggest things I like to always kind of let everyone know is I have two dogs. And sometimes they hear things and they will bark. I have a big black lab, so he has a really deep voice. And I always warn people just in case it startles people. I feel like it can be really loud. And so sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, that's probably scared like half the people in my class. And sometimes y'all will hear it, sometimes y'all will not. But also like if you see me looking like this, that's also because sometimes they will be moving and acting silly, and I'm just making sure they're good. So I'm not like crazy who was just like staring at things. I promise you, that's not it. It's the dogs. They always have to have attention somehow. So, I did want to say that. And yes, I wanted to piggyback off of like Miss Katie said, like she said, it is a safe space. And so one of the biggest things you will kind of notice as our class progresses is not only is it ASL, it is also related with deaf culture. ASL and deaf culture go together a lot. You can't really have one without the other. And so I do kind of like to throw in some more information about deaf culture to help you kind of understand that as well. And so I do really like this to be a space where if you are genuinely curious, like, hey, if I do this, would that be insulting? If I say this, would that be insulting? You can ask those questions. I will tell you yes or no if that is true or what will happen. So you are definitely welcome to ask any of those questions, even if you think, I think this is insulting. Ask me. I'll tell you if it is or not. So I think that's just always a really important thing, and I want you guys to feel comfortable with. Also, if you haven't noticed already, I talk a lot and I talk fast. If I'm going way too fast, tell me. Be like, Jillian, please slow down. I don't know what's happening. You can put it in the chat, anything like that. I talk almost as fast as how I sign as well. So if you are getting really overwhelmed, you're like, I don't know, I can't remember, ask me. I will repeat, I will slow down. I'm here for you guys, basically, is kind of my thing. I'm here for you guys to learn and feel good about this. The other thing I was going to say, the thing that's I think kind of nice about this class is it is kind of go at your own pace. And what I mean by that is that if things get busy, because life is busy, and you're not able to make it to one of our classes, the classes are recorded. So you can always catch up, watch it at another time, things like that. We don't really do like quizzes or tests, things like that. So there's no like that pressure. It's kind of go at your own. And also with that, we have a also, I'm going to say this because I do this a lot. ASL is very visual, and I make a visual list, and my list is always right here. So if you see me doing that, that is because I'm visually looking at my list again. It's a teacher thing, just letting you know. But so if you like end up being like this is just really struggling, you can always go back to our videos later on, even after the class is finished. We always kind of save our videos, so that's always like a nice resource. I think the last thing I was going to say, and then we'll go ahead and get started, is we start kind of easy and then we later get to kind of more content heavy. And the reason for that is I think it's always helpful to have more of the signs and then the videos you can go back to later. Okay. So we may be doing like a lot, like here's like a ton of signs. Thus, it's a resource for you. It's basically like your own personal like library of information. Here's the signs, here's the words. And so we may not like stay and just drill and routine. We may just kind of keep moving on since we only meet once a week. But that way you have it saved and ready for you to go back and check again later. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Is how everyone's feeling? Good. I'm not sure. You're kind of crazy. I'm not feeling 100% for this class anymore. We're feeling good? Okay, perfect. All right, so for tonight, we're going to start easy. That being said, what we're going to do is we're going to do the alphabet, okay? And what's really kind of cool with the alphabet is when you are learning, if you know the ABCs, you can have a simple conversation already. And so the reason for that is because in ASL, And this is actually kind of one of my favorite features about ASL that kind of I think makes it better than like other languages is that in ASL, if you don't know the word for something, you can fingerspell that word. So like if you're talking about like your favorite animal and you forget the sign for dog, you don't have to be like, I'm stuck. I don't know how to continue. Like, no, you can be like my favorite animal and then fingerspell dog and that conversation keeps going. So it's really important you already like learn the ABCs because you can't have that like basic conversation and even like an emergency if you need to like ask someone if they need help or things like that, you can fingerspell at least. So,
Also, I wanted to say that some of you might already know this, but there are a lot of words that don't have signs. And like I felt really bad for that anesthesiologist because that is a long title to fingerspell every single time. I was like, you might want to be an ER doctor or something. Like it's just a lot quicker. But so just know that like we have had people like if you work at the zoo and you want to know all the names for the varieties of meerkats, I'm sorry. I don't think there are a ton of signs for all the different, like the more granular you get, the less likely you are to have a specific sign that we would know. We're just kind of looking at big picture signs. But we definitely want to fill in where we can. Also, if anybody has any tech questions as far as using YouTube, let me know. I know not everybody uses it all the time, and I'm happy to help. That's it.
but yeah, so like she said, there are words in ASL where they just don't have a sign, and so you do finger spell. And this is the sign for finger spell. It's literally you wiggle your fingers and you go in a circular motion. And this is talking about spelling words, so like doing the ABCs, spelling dog, things like that. So this is finger spell. You will see me doing this often. So, especially if you're asking me like specific, like she was saying, specific kinds of animals that don't have signs, I may be like, you finger spell. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and get started. So, our first letter obviously is going to be A. So, for A, you're going to have all four of your fingers bent down. You want your thumb on the side. And I'll say this now, it doesn't really make a big difference right at this moment. If there's ever any issues where it's a left-handed or a right-handed position, I will let you know. I'm left-handed, and so sometimes I have to kind of be aware of that. And most of the time, there's not too many issues with it, but there are a few signs where it does require you to have your left hand or your right hand. So, but right now we should be good. So A, B is going to be four fingers up with your thumb across. And you guys are very lucky right now. I have my nails painted so you can actually see like where my thumb is. Sometimes I don't, and I feel like it just blends in and you can't see. So y'all are very fortunate right now. C. Hmm. And D is going to be like your pointer finger pointing up, and your like fingers, instead of it being like a flat one like this, they're making that like circle space. So D. Hmm. E is going to be your four fingers bent with your thumb kind of close. You may have yours kind of looking like this. You want to bring it in a little bit more. E. Yeah, put your thumb right there. There you go. Then F is going to be your last three fingers up and your pointer finger making that we're good sign, that all right sign. hmm And then G. G is like we're doing a little baby pinch and you're gonna turn it forward. So G. Okay, let's go back A through G. So we had A, mhm, B, mhm, C, D, so pointer finger up, mhm, pointer finger. There you go. Wait, yes, there you go. And then E, mhm, F, and G. G. So remember, baby pinch, turn the foot, face it forward. There we go. Okay. So then after that, we have obviously our H. H is going to be similar to G. Okay, so instead of having one finger, we're going to have two. H. Now, with this one, people do ask me about where your thumb is placed. It can be open like this or it can be closed. Either one, that doesn't make a big difference because you really, I mean, I'm moving, well, you saw that time, but I'm moving my thumb back and forth and you can't really see. So it's more of a comfort. So if your thumb is more comfortable like resting, that's okay. Okay. So after H, we have I, and that's going to be your pinky. J is you're going to make a J motion. J, J. So fun fact, I like to add this here. When I was learning ASL, I took 2 years in high school and then I took more years in college. The first time I learned it, my teacher was very strict about how we do our J's. And so depending on which hand you use, you had to move yours in a different position. So like, for example, right-handed people would go out while left-handed people came in. I was very strict about that myself and very like, I'm not going to mess it up. I'm left-handed. And then I started working with deaf students and my deaf coworkers, and I asked them one time about that because I was genuinely curious. I'd noticed my students been doing out and didn't matter which hand they were doing. And one of my coworkers was like, really, it's not that big of a deal. And I was like, oh, okay. I was very, very like, this is serious. We do not mess this up. And apparently it was okay. So I always like to talk about it because I think we already had our first class and I was like insistent, do not mess this up. Go out. And they were like, it's really not that big of a deal. The reason for it is because when you have the person standing and looking at it, you want that J to look in that same position. Like how you would write your letter J's. You know, you have typically you write the J's going out. So that's why it goes this way. J. So just a little fun fact. Okay. For K. All right. So we're going to go slow with K because it is kind of weird. All right. So you're going to make a two. Your middle finger is going to go forward. And you're going to stick your thumb in between it. Yeah, there you go. Okay. If this does not feel comfortable, you're probably doing it right. And the reason I say that is because your hands are not used to putting, like moving kind of crazy like that. And so your fingers may not feel comfortable and you're like, that kind of feels weird. That's pretty normal. I remember when I was learning, that same thing happened. So do not stress. I promise you, with practice, it gets more comfortable. So K. L, we all know L. Luckily, that one continues to stay the same. Then we have M. So M is going to be three fingers over your thumb, and you do want to make sure your thumb kind of sticks out just so you are able to see the shape of the M. Okay. Then N is two fingers over your thumb. So now it's making the N shape. Okay. Our next one's going to be O, and that's just O. All right, so let's go back. We stopped at G. So we had H, H, I, J. I love watching all of those right-handed people be like, I'm gonna make it go outward. I saw that, it made me giggle. So J, K, L, M, N, mhm. There we go. Good job, sister. O. Okay. So now we're going to go on to P. P is going to be like our K. So we get in that K shape. But now we point it down. So we're bending down. P. I almost said K. Goodness me. Flipping letters. P. Okay. Then we have Q. Q is similar to like our G. So that little pinch. And now you're having that one pointed down as well. So Q. And then R is you cross your fingers. Hmm. S is going to be similar to A, but now your thumb is in front. T is one pointer finger over your thumb. U is going to be two fingers together. V, very similar to what we've seen. And then W, same thing. X is going to be like think of a pirate's hook. And I have to add our little story here because I think it's one of my favorite stories. For the longest times, I had no idea why I would keep saying X like a pirate because I don't know why that would just drive me crazy. I kept always saying X like a pirate, X like a pirate. It's like, why do I keep thinking this? And Miss Katie finally caught on and finally realized where it was coming from. X marks the spot for treasure, and pirates are always looking for treasure. I don't know why that never made that connection to me, that's where I was going with, but I always think of a pirate when I make an X. And so I always like to add these little stories in case it helps you remember the signs and the letters better. So X like a pirate. Okay. Then Y is going to be your pinky and your thumb out. And if you notice, it looks like a Y shape. So the Y shape. Mm-hmm. And then Z. Z is going to be your pointer finger, and you're going to make the zigzag motion. For the Y, which one? The X or the Y? The Y. You want to leave it like this. Yes. If you have it this way, it won't really make too big of a difference. It would just like throw you off if you were spelling like Y-O-U. So Y-O-U kind of goes smoother versus Y-O-U, if that makes sense. That extra shift can be a bit distracting versus having it straight ahead. But good question. And then I'm going to add for the Z here. It does not matter too much which way you zigzag. Some people will ask that, and really, if you just make the zigzag, you should be okay. Okay, now let's go back. So we stopped at O, so we had P. So P is like K, but pointing down. Then we had Q, so tiny pinch pointing down. R, cross your fingers. S, same as A. I don't know why I was trying to show A first. I was like, let's just go straight to S. T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. If it's a habit you doing this, I know you mean Y. You're good. Some of y'all I can see will fingerspell. I'm like, someone has learned some of their ABCs before. I always can catch y'all. Y'all think y'all are sly, but I'll see it. Y'all move ahead already. And I'm like, that's not what I said. So totally good. I love when you guys already have that head start. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back. Hi, Henry. I had to say hi. I've known her families for many years. That's why. So whenever I see any of the siblings, I'm like, oh my gosh, hi, hi. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and go all the way A through Z together. We will go slow. Um, I like to look at everybody's screen, like I kind of take turns. So if you see me doing that bobbing, it's me literally watching everybody fingerspell. So that way I like try to make sure everyone's on the same page. Okay. So let's start at the very beginning. We had A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, pinky. There you go. J, K, L, M, mhm, N, mhm, O, P, mhm, mhm. There you go. Yep. Q, mhm, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Z. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to do the ABCs again one more time. This time, I'm going to have to make sure to slap my hand down. Sometimes I don't catch myself. I'm going to say the letter first, and I'm going to have you guys sign it. Okay. And then I'll kind of come up and pop up. If I notice some people are struggling, I will come in with the sign. This way is to challenge you guys. You guys have to think of how your ABCs go. So yeah, sometimes I'll catch myself and won't realize that I've like said it and showed it at the same time, so I have to like keep my hand down. Um, but anyways, all right, y'all ready? Okay. A, mm-hmm, B, C, D, point your finger. There you go. Mm-hmm. E, mm-hmm, F, mm-hmm, there you go. G, so G is that pointer finger pointing this way. There you go. Mm-hmm. G, H, two fingers. I know. Sometimes it's like specific letters that will get you. So trust me, I get it. I, mhm, J, mhm, K, mhm, L, mhm, M, mhm, N, mhm, O, P. So like our K, but pointing down. There you go. Q. So like little g, point down. R. Mhm. S. T. U. hmm There you go. V. W. X. Y. And Z. Good. I did not have to show that many letters. Some classes I have to kind of throw a few, and then others will be like, now we got this. Okay, good, good, good. I do want to add this here before I forget, that one of my best recommendations for practicing your finger spelling One is to go through the ABCs, just kind of drill. I keep signing drilling. This is the sign for like drilling is where you keep just going over and over. Um, you kind of keep practicing, keep drilling it. And then the other thing I like to recommend is, and this is kind of one of my favorite things to do, is when I'm out and about, or if I'm in the car, not driving, but like I'm sitting in the passenger seat, I will look at billboards and I try to finger spell, like just spell the letters of the words I see on the board. So if I see one that's like Alexander Shannara, because we always see one somewhere, I literally try to finger spell his name as fast as I
Please
possibly can.
tell me he has his own sign.
I don't think so. I've not
That's
heard. I'll have to
disappointing.
ask someone. I know some, like, there are some people that do. I feel like he needs one. And it would definitely be a local sign.
What, does James Spann have one?
No, but he deserves one, and
Yeah,
that's
he
my
does.
opinion, and I stand
Okay.
on it. I'm very, very big on that.
What about
Um,
Vulcan?
no, Vulcan's finger spelled. I know.
Okay.
So, I am going to add this here before I forget as well. That on top of that. So the finger spelling, any words you see, I mean, even if it's just like looking at a newspaper or the title of a book or something like that, I always like to finger spell. And that's kind of how you're able to have that fluency where it's smooth. Like you've seen when I finger spell my name, like it's not Gillia. Like I'm not bouncing it. I have a smoother motion, if you see, and that's from that practicing over and over. It can be a nice little calming thing. And I like to always like challenge myself. How fast can I spell this word correctly? So those are my best recommendations just to like practice finger spelling. Um, I am personally one who's like used that and done that and seen really good success. So but I did want to say this because I know Miss Katie mentioned it. I was like, actually, you know what? I need to talk about this. So as she was saying, talking about famous people and how they have what's called a name sign. And so this is where that, like I said, that deaf culture kind of comes in. And so when it comes to talking about different people, and you don't have to always, like, for example, my students are not always finger spelling my name to get my attention. They're not saying like finger spelling Jillian again and again and again. Or if you're talking to someone about another person, you're not having to spell their name over and over again. What's really cool is there's these things called name signs. And name signs are special signs given to identify this person, the specific person. You can only get a name sign from a deaf person. You cannot make up your own, and you cannot get one from a hearing person. It has to be a deaf person. And the reason for that is that name signs are very important and they relate to your personality. Okay, so it's not just like, oh, well, here's a G and that's it. No, it has to do something with your personality or maybe a physical characteristic, things like that. So I have a name sign, and my name sign is a G, and you brush it across the top of your cheeks, Jillian. And so the reason for this is because I think you guys can tell. You guys were lucky that it's hot outside enough that my cheeks got red. My cheeks typically get really red often. I have very rosy pink red cheeks. And so, because of that, it's very often. So, my G for Jillian, and then the top of my rosy pink cheeks. So that's where my name sign comes from. I have some people, some like friends that have theirs kind of close to their mouth, and that's because of their smiles, or there may be one next to their heart because they're soft-hearted, very sweet ones, and then I'm over here because I have my red cheeks. Um, some of them can be really sweet, some of them can be a bit, oh, that makes sense, but also like, why do you gotta focus on my red cheeks? I don't mean to always get so red in the face. But I've learned to love it because it's something that's different. You see a lot of people around the mouth or heart. And so it's like nice to have something that's slightly different and not just like the common ones. But it's really cool. So if you ever get a chance to really get to talk with a deaf person, more than one time, they're not going to give you, most of them probably will not give you a name sign the first time you meet because they need to get to know you. But once you get a name sign, like it's like the coolest thing in the world. I'll never forget. I was bragging all day in high school. I was like, I have a name sign. I have a name sign. It's a very cool thing. So, some there are some famous people and famous usually like presidents will have name signs. Like Washington, like George Washington is a W and it's on his shoulder right here. And it's because of like his I can't remember the word just left me. The little like tassels that are on the off his arm. Like
Epaulets? I
thing
don't know how to pronounce it.
that.
Yeah.
Washington, Abraham Lincoln is up here, AL, obviously for the top hat. Trying to think of some other ones. There's a bunch of different ones I cannot remember. So
Okay,
certain,
and then will you also talk about local signs? Because I asked about Vulcan and
yes,
like,
yes. That was
yeah.
the other thing. I was like, you said two things. I was like, girl, I gotta bring up two different topics now. Um, the next thing I was gonna say is what Miss Katie was talking about, local signs. So what's really interesting with ASL is ASL is not a universal language like most people think. ASL stands for American Sign Language. That means that if you were to go to England and start signing ASL, there's a chance they're not going to understand what you're saying because there is what's called British Sign Language, BSL. And so theirs is slightly different. There's also French ASL, French SL, it's French FSL, French Sign Language, Spanish Sign Language. They're all different.
Okay, and also, will you tell them about where American Sign Language came from? Because you would think it would be more like British.
Yes. You guys are getting a lot of deaf culture information right now. Like I told you, it's all related. Like it's
Jillian
not
and I have not been together for like 6 months, so this is very
literally.
exciting.
Yes. Like I love talking about this stuff. So what's really cool is ASL actually comes from France. It was French Sign Languages where ours is the most similar-ish. We have a man named Thomas Gallaudet, and he was trying to figure out like setting up a school and things like that. And he talked to this French man named Laurent Clerc, and he talked to him about ASL and developing or FSL and then how to set up a school. And that was how our first American School for the Deaf was ever founded and set up. So hi, Thomas Gallaudet. It's very cool. I'm not going to go in too deep. I promise I'm not going to do a whole history lesson here. But I just think it's really cool. It's always fascinating learning about that and how our ASL is not like made up. It's just kind of translated and connected to French Sign Language. But so with that, there will be different signs, obviously, for different things in different languages. But also, if you think about in America, we have a lot of different accents. We have a Southern accent, a New York accent, a Californian accent. We have all these different accents, and they actually can influence our signing. And so, what I mean by that is there are certain words that we may have a sign for here that's going to be different in a different state or a different region. My favorite example is actually I have a new one. Sorry, my favorite example is always ketchup, but I have a new one I got to show you because I love this one. This one was a big talk at the camps I was working at. It was crazy. So the sign for ketchup here in Alabama we use is ketchup. It's like an F and it like goes on a circle in the corner of our mouth. So ketchup. But in Tennessee they use ketchup, like the bottle. So like pop in the bottle, ketchup. And so it's always crazy to see like, okay, Tennessee uses like this while we use ketchup. The other one is strawberry. Strawberry's crazy, you guys, okay? So the strawberry sign we use here, it's a thumb, and you're gonna put it against your chin. So strawberry, okay? But in other states, they will go strawberry. Like it's like the nine brushing it, or strawberry, strawberry. Yes, trust
Wait,
me.
I'm really shaken up right now. Y'all don't have
Yeah.
any idea. I really thought strawberry was like a universal. That amazes me.
Okay. Yes, no. Okay, so we had this similar, like, I don't know if anyone saw the chat, but Isabel was saying her brother's class had a debate on which ketchup sign is better. Trust me, I agree. Like,
Oh,
there's
I have an
it's a big
opinion.
debate, especially the strawberry one. Wild. I came so left field with my strawberry sign because I was working in Florida and we were working in a camp with deaf kids. And we were all talking in, I guess they were in their ASL class. And so the teacher, she and I had been chatting, already got to know each other. And I told her we do strawberry. She told the students, Jillian uses the sign strawberry. The kids were like, what? No, it's strawberry. Like they argued about this. And one of them came up to me and goes, strawberry? And I was like, what's wrong? I had no idea what was happening. And they're like, strawberry? No, strawberry. And it's like, I'm sorry, that's what we use in Alabama. So it can be really funny. But the reason I like to mention this is that if you end up seeing a sign that I like, if you've seen some signs before and I sign something that might be slightly different, it can be a regional sign. And I try to like kind of like fair warn, oh, I've seen different ones. I do like to let you know, oh, like we sign strawberry here, but I have seen strawberry. So that way, it's like you kind of can be aware of that. Also means that if you talk to someone who's from a different state and they tell you, what, this, what, no, this, or they're saying this, it doesn't mean that this is wrong. It's just different. I don't want you to think, Jillian told us the wrong sign for something. No, no.
And that's why we learn how to finger spell because you can always, yeah.
Spell it out and be like, this is the sign for this. And it's always fun. So, I'd always like to preface that as well, just because there will be signs that may be different depending on regions, states, and even sometimes like in the state itself. I've seen a couple different ones just kind of vary here and there just by where people grew up. I mean, I had a word, I had a perfect English word that we use like a buggy or a cart. You know, some of people call it a buggy, some people call it a cart. I'm sorry, I am a buggy person. I call it a buggy. So it's the same concept like that. And I just think that's always really cool because I think we always think when it comes to ASL, it has to like it has to be exactly like English. And sometimes it's really not. There's similar concepts like of a language, but it's not just copy and paste English. But yeah, okay. We have about 17 more minutes. What I'm gonna do now is trying to decide. I added a lot more comments right now. That's why I'm trying to think of what to do of the 3 billion things that are in my mind, but we can go ahead and do. So I think the first thing we're gonna do is we are going to do a quick little where you guys will finger spell your names and we'll take turns. Okay. I saw that ghost hand. I see your hand like in the corner over here on Christina's. I saw you finger spell your name real fast. I caught it. I had to tease her. Or tease them. I've had to like, I've just seen this little hand sticking out this whole time. And I'm like, got you. I'm happy you're here. But I want everybody to take their turn, finger spelling their name. I'm also going to give you the sentence signs for saying my name is. Okay. So we're just going to introduce ourselves. It's no stress. There's no grade for this. If you finger spell it wrong or you're struggling, I'm here to help. Some of you that are groups in your little screen, you may need to like unmute to tell me the name because I'm only going to say what's on the screen, what's in the little corner. Just an FYI. So before we start that, let me go ahead and give you the sign for my name is. Okay? So you're going to sign my, which is my. And then you're going to sign name. Name is 2 H's, and you're going to tap on top of each other. Does not matter which one you tap. I typically am left, I have the left one because I'm left-handed. For those of you who just joined us, totally fine. I'm going to have you sit out. I'm not going to pick on you because I know you just joined. That's so not fair. I'm not going to be like, nope, surprise, you got to figure out how to spell your name. No, we're not going to do that. So do not worry. So my name, my name. Okay. And I have to add this because it won't make sense. There is not really a sign for is. You actually, it's like embedded in the sign. So you don't have to sign that word individually. You just say my name and then you go ahead and spell your name. So my name, Gillian. Okay? Okay. If you also want to go by a nickname that's shorter, you're more than welcome to. I know some people will have really long names, and I do feel really bad for y'all. You are definitely allowed to have a shorter name. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start with, I'm so sorry, Christina, but you're the first one in my corner screen. I always have to, I'm like, I go by my order, and so that maybe the not the order y'all have. I apologize, but you are my first one on the screen. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yay! Perfect. You did awesome. Okay. My next one is Isabella. Awesome. Okay. The next one is my group of kiddos, D. Okay. If you do not want to do it, you're more than that's totally fine. If you want to, come on ahead. You can go ahead. Yeah, come on. Mm-hmm. 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 He's trying his best. He's like, I can do this. I can do this. Okay. Awesome. All right. Next. Sister, you want to go? Okay. We'll go down the line. Anaya. Perfect. Oh, I was like, wait a minute. I can catch that. I have had taught a student Anaya before. I know that name. All right. Next one. D. Mm-hmm. A. Y. L. O. N. Dalen. Ooh, perfect. Good job. Okay. Next of our little group, Andrea. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. So my next group is Ashley. You guys can pick whoever goes first. Awesome. Good. Okay. Next. Wait a minute. I was waiting for an R like Tyler, and I went, wait, I was not seeing an R. Okay. K. Kylie? Kylie. No? Kyle. Kyle. I don't know why I keep wanting to add an I in there. My brain is not there. Apologize. Kyle. I don't know why I kept thinking Tyler. I was waiting for that R and I just stared like, where's the R? That was not it. My bad, you guys. It's the end of the day. All right. The next one I have is Vasant. Did I say that right or wrong? Okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Awesome. Good. Okay. The next one is Miyuki. Did I say that right, wrong? If I said it wrong, please correct me if you need to. Mhm. Good. Awesome. Okay. And then Danielle. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So Lizzie, I'm gonna show you the spell since I know you missed the first part. That way you can still be a part. Okay. So for your name, you're gonna do Lizzi. Okay. So my name, L. Perfect. Okay. That also did remind me before I forget. Double letters. No one asked me this, which some classes will, sometimes I'll catch, sometimes I won't. But so for double letters, there are two ways you can do it. The first one is where you slide it. So like if you notice when I did Gillian, I went Gil, like I slid it across. You can do like a little slide with it. The other is you can also do a double tap. So Lizzie, yours is slightly different because you have a Z, so yours would be Lizzie, like it'd be Z, Z, that kind of motion. But you could do Jillian, like Jillian. It's hard to tell through Zoom, but I did that like double bounce, that quick little double bounce. So that's how you can do it with double letters. But everybody introduced themselves and they all did a good job. You should feel proud of yourselves that you now know how to spell your name in ASL. That is very important because that's the first question anyone is going to ask you in ASLs. Who are you? Who are you? So okay. Since we have about 7 minutes left, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave it open if you guys have any questions as of right now, or if you need to repeat anything, just I'm gonna kind of leave it open for the rest of class. So any questions you guys have, you can you can voice or you can put in the chat, either way. Yes, Isabella.
Yes. So I was wondering when you're asking someone their name, would you go like this because it's like your, or would you go like point like this?
So you would technically do the open hand your. We will do more with WH question words later, but for now, yes, you would go your name. hmm
And
So
then do you
this
need
is
to be
the
like what, or you can just be like your name? Like,
you would do what? I was just adding the your name, but
okay.
yes. So you would do your name, and then the sign for what is you have like open hands, what? What? hmm Um, and so also when you're doing a question word, I'm not trying to overwhelm you. I know I've thrown like 1,000 things at you and you guys are like, my brain hurts. But and we will talk about this more later. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it now since we did the what. When you're asking a WH question word, you want to have your eyebrows kind of go down. So your name, what? And the reason for this is that's how you actually pretty much like you're telling your question, like your question mark at the end. That's how they know you are asking them something. So,
Okay, thank you.
yes, we will get more into that, I promise, and practicing and explaining that. But I just was like, I'm gonna go ahead and say this now, so that way, if you ended up using it and someone's like judging you for your like eyebrows, that's why. I promise we will go more in depth on that. Um, Miss Katie asked if I could show you guys. I always forget to add this one, and that is on me. How you would sign I am learning ASL. Okay. So ASL is not English with hands. I know that's like the common like thought. It's not. It's its own different language. And so the way you would say like I am learning ASL would be actually you would say me learn ASL or learn ASL me. Okay. I'm gonna give you more of it's more the English-esque version of ASL for right now, and we will go in more depth about the proper later. See, yep, I knew someone was gonna ask that question. You guys are asking me so many questions right now. Okay, I will get to those both, yes. So how you would say I'm learning ASL is you point to me, so yourself, so point me. And then the sign for learn is gonna have your non-dominant palm up. Your dominant is going to kind of be on top like this, and you're going to pull that information to your forehead. Learn, learn, learn. It's like you have a book right here, and you're taking all that information, and you're putting it in your brain. Learn. and then you would do ASL. ASL. Okay, so me, learn, ASL. Okay. Yes, no, that is totally perfect for silent. You can definitely have a American Sign Language book for reference. You may be ahead of the game a few times, be like, I already saw this sign. I'll be looking at you. All right, the next question we had was the sign what go before or after the signs for your name. In ASL, your question word goes at the end of your sentence. Okay? I know that's strange. We're used to saying, what is your name? What is your favorite animal? What is your what? In ASL, it goes at the end. So you would go your name, what? And the reason for that is clarifying what kind of question you're asking. Because for example, you could be like saying your name, how, like, how did you get your name? Like, what's it from? So your name, how, your name where, like from where, like where's your name on the board? Like it can change depending on the question word you ask. So having it at the end helps them to know what kind of question you're asking them and what kind of answer to give back. Um, so yes, it's very interesting very interesting concept. And sometimes you'll catch yourself, at least I know I do, where I will say questions and I will say like, what, like I will literally say, your name what? Your name what? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. English, what is your name? Like I have to flip back and forth a lot. So, yes. Okay. Any final questions? Any other questions? If you don't have any right now, that's totally fine. If you think of any later, you are more than welcome to either email Miss Katie or save them. I love how I did this. Miss Katie. Or you can save them for next class and we can definitely go through them as well there. Let's see. You're totally good.
Oh
No
yeah,
worries.
don't worry about
No stress. I said in
not
the
a
beginning of
deal.
the class, you will see in the beginning, I said it is no stress. Show up when you can. If you can't make it, that's totally fine. No worries. And yeah, I think I will let you guys go now solely because I think I've overwhelmed y'all's brains and y'all need a whole week to just be like, what did that crazy lady say? So, alrighty.
You're
I
awesome.
You guys have a wonderful rest of y'all's week, and I will see you guys all next Tuesday. Bye, guys.